Do you have a particular person in mind that you always have to message first to start a conversation? Or maybe that's you. You wait, you watch, you scroll through your phone, but you just can't bring yourself to write that first text. This isn't about being lazy or not caring. There's actual psychology behind why you can't hit send. And by the end of this video, you'll finally understand what's really happening in your brain. Let's start with our number one reason. And honestly, this is the most common one. You literally don't know what to say. Psychologists have found that people choose to never text others first because they genuinely don't know what to say. You might even have a phobia of replying to messages, overthinking your responses, or feeling like you don't have the right words. Think about it. When someone texts you first, they've already given you the topic. They've done the hard work. All you have to do is respond. But starting from scratch, that's a whole different level of mental effort. Cognitive psychologist Daniel Kahneman would explain this through what he calls System 2 thinking. Starting a conversation from scratch requires focused mental effort. Your brain is asking, what if I say the wrong thing? What if it's boring? What if they think I'm weird for reaching out? So instead of risking it, you just don't text at all. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Now we move on to number 2. And this one hits different. You're protecting yourself from rejection. Psychologist Geraldine Downey discovered something called rejection sensitivity. It's when your brain interprets even small things, like someone not replying immediately, as total rejection. And here's what's wild. Studies show that for rejection-sensitive people, getting ignored in a text actually lights up the same parts of the brain as physical pain. So when you don't text first, you're not being difficult. You're literally trying to avoid what your brain experiences as getting hurt. By waiting for the other person to reach out, you're forcing them to prove they care before you risk that pain. It's a protection strategy your brain developed, probably from past experiences where you reached out and got burned. But here's the problem. The more you avoid texting first, the more isolated you become. And eventually, people stop trying. Your fear creates the exact rejection you were trying to avoid in the first place. Now, number 3 is a little bit interesting because it's actually about control. Psychologists call this a dominance strategy. You view relationships through social exchange theory, where every interaction is give and take. They text you, then you text them. It's not that you're trying to manipulate anyone. It's usually something you picked up from environments where control meant safety. Maybe you grew up in chaos and learned that being the responder, not the initiator, gave you power over when and how you engaged. But in American dating culture, where everything moves fast and people expect quick responses, this totally backfires. People sense you're holding back and they walk away. The person trying to stay in control ends up completely alone. We move on to number 4. And this is where our hustle culture really shows up. You're overwhelmed and stressed. Getting a lot of texts throughout the day can be a major source of stress. You may feel scared to read your messages or pressured to respond right away. After scrolling Instagram for an hour, answering emails, dealing with your boss's attitude, and trying to figure out dinner, your brain is completely fried. Starting a conversation feels like one more task on an endless to-do list. So you wait. You tell yourself you'll text later when you have energy, but later never comes because you're always exhausted. And finally, here's number 5. And this one might actually explain you better than anything else. You have an avoidant attachment style. Research by Druin and Landgraf found that people with avoidant attachment styles text significantly less to romantic partners. They need time to process emotional interactions. Here's what happens in your brain. While people with anxious attachment text more and wait by their phone, you pull back. This creates a toxic cycle. The anxious person texts more desperately, which makes you retreat even further. And get this, a study by Halpern and Katz in 2017 found something shocking. More texting actually leads to more conflict and less intimacy in relationships over time. So if you're someone who never texts first and you're avoidant, you're not broken. Your nervous system just needs space. But you have to communicate that instead of going completely silent and leaving people confused. Here's the truth nobody talks about. Not texting first doesn't make you a bad person. But if it's causing you to lose relationships you actually value, or if you're sitting alone, wishing people would reach out while never reaching out yourself, that's worth looking at. The question isn't, should you always text first or never text first? The question is, are you choosing this behavior consciously, or is fear, exhaustion, or past pain choosing it for you? Because once you understand the psychology behind it, you can decide if you want to change it, or if you're perfectly fine exactly as you are. If this made you see your texting habits in a completely different way, hit that subscribe button. We're breaking down the psychology that actually explains your life, not just generic advice you've heard a million times. And if you want to dive even deeper into understanding yourself, join our newsletter community. The link is in the description. It's where we share real psychology that hits different. See you there.